Wonder Soul.
But yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on and
Of course, anytime.
catching up and talking. I hit you up at the Blue the other night with this whole thing with Xbox, and I'm sure that's something we'll get to, um, throughout the episode and stuff like that. But I really don't know where to start with that because I think we've had our conversations back and forth over time, and I think my stance as far as like where Xbox is right now has shifted in some ways. I wouldn't say it's like
Mm.
pro or anti anything, but it's just like I think like more of like it's more obvious now what they're doing, you know? It seems like they're moving away from certain things. That's what it looks like. It seems like things are
Ye
starting to shift.
Well, I know that, like, the big issue right now is okay, for your listeners, at the end of the day, I'm just some dumb person. I am only I am these are my thoughts based off of what I am seeing on a surface level.
Mhm.
Okay, so there's always deeper and deeper and deeper reasons why certain things are happening, but I am only providing my opinion based off of what is currently out there for the public to see and public knowledge. Because the last thing I want to do is sit here and pretend that I'm some expert in law. I'm some expert in finances. I'm some expert in whatever
Yeah.
people are claiming to be experts in these
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
And because for an entire year, and I know that this is part of my disclaimer, for an entire year, there were mouthpieces on social media claiming to be just like based off some of the stuff that they were saying, they were
Yeah.
they it was as if they were presenting themselves as an expert in whatever it is that they were talking about. Anyway, I am not an expert in any of this. I am dumb. I am only regurgitating I'm only giving my thoughts on what I have consumed on a surface level. Okay. So there's that. So um on from from what I can tell, the right as of this month, um the Xbox Series consoles are still they are still below the Xbox One in sales. Okay, they
Hmm.
have not tracked above Xbox One sales yet. Um Another thing too is they are consistently down in a lot of countries in console sales. So it they seem to be on the uptick with the beginning of the year, but
Mhm.
they missed they missed the mark based off what I'm consumed. They've missed the mark in many areas, in many important areas such as the holidays. They missed the mark in the holidays when their consoles were dirt cheap again. I mean, the Series S I think was 150 or $200 during the holiday season. Uh, and so I know that a lot of people would argue that console sales aren't important, but a console sale is theoretically a Game Pass sub. Okay, they most of the Xbox consoles they'll come with like what a week or two of Xbox Game Pass. Um, it in theory it is a Game Pass. It is the opportunity for a Game Pass subscription, which is what the Xbox platform has been really pushing for the better part of over 3 years, give or take. I can't remember when Game Pass was introduced, but I know that, like, especially going into the pandemic, they really pushed the Game Pass
I'm trying to
subscription
think.
services.
When did it come out on the Xbox One?
I think it did. Let me
Like at
see
the
here.
tail end of it, I think, if anything. Trying to think of when like Game Pass was introduced too, man.
It
I know
it
it.
says Game Pass's initial release was June 1st, 2017. Launched on June 1st, 2017. The service allows users to download and play video games for Xbox game consoles or okay, anyway.
So a couple
So
years.
well, I mean, we're closing in on 7 years. And
Yeah.
um
But the
uh
series came out in 20, so it was out for like 3 years before
yeah,
we
it was
even got to the X and S.
yeah. And so basically like console sales are down and then like I don't know like I don't know. My whole thing is like, I don't know how it is financially viable to put these hundreds of millions of dollars to produce games day and date on the platform. Like, it's this weird thing to think about. I mean, you got a game like Starfield. Based depending on where it is that you look, it costs between 200 and 400 million dollars to produce, and it doesn't. In my opinion, Starfield looks like Skyrim, a game that is, I
Ooh,
don't know, 13 years at
years.
this point, 13 years old at this point. It looks like it looks like a 360 game. And it plays like one too. So
But wasn't
anyway,
Bethesda working on that before Xbox got them? Wasn't that at least
mhm.
like in like so they were so I wonder if
They
Microsoft like shifted some money and said, "Look, no, you really got it. This got to be a
I don't
hit."
I
I
don't
don't know how that
know.
works. Like I don't know how.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but they announced Starfield the same year that I believe Fallout 76 came out.
To be
So
fair, Bethesda, and that might be what happens with them with Blizzard and stuff, is like these companies are not the companies at their peak. Some argue that
mhm.
Bethesda has peaked. Some argue that Blizzard has peaked. Uh, so,
Well, but Bethesda has problems with their engine. Their engine is out of date. And their overall like gameplay design needs like the gameplay, in my opinion, the gameplay mechanics for Skyrim, or not for Skyrim, but for Bethesda games, whether it be Skyrim or Fallout or whatever,
yeah.
like it 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 is a good solid gameplay loop, but you've got to find ways to make it feel different and better with each passing gaming generation,
Hmm.
or at the very least each passing like game there's got to be some kind of new thing to, I don't know.
Well, could I argue that like when a game takes so long to make, you well by the time we're seeing the product, like Suicide Kill the Justice League is a good example of like something that I was like, when they thought of this idea, this is what was popular at the time, and they tried to
Mhm,
catch in on that. In that period, they have seen the Avengers and numerous other games that are kind of like that fail. But they're like,
mhm.
it's too late. We're we're already rolling. And you see like games and movies even like things get canceled all the time. But I always think that when a game like Elder Scrolls 6 that has been being, it's been made, or, like by the time they started working on that game, where games are or what people like or enjoy might be completely different. And maybe that's something like with a Starfield where it's like by the time it reached people, it was like, yeah, this is an older idea. Because
Mhm,
games you can't just make overnight. You really
mhm.
can't catch in, you can't cash in on trends and stuff pretty, I don't know. That's kind of like a theory I have, was like why their stuff feels dated sometimes is because they do take a long time with a lot of their games, but it's kind of what and correct me if I'm wrong, that feels like the strategy now is just like, yo, take your freaking time. Postpone if you need to. Like,
Yeah, oh, I'm a firm believer of take as much time as you need,
yeah,
delay games. I'd much rather have a really great finished a really great finished
could be.
product than right, than a rushed out piece of
Yeah,
junk.
yeah.
But I do wanna specify that, like, I feel somewhat similarly towards PlayStation stuff too. So I watched the State of Play the other day.
I didn't
Um,
see it. How was it?
it was, it was okay, but I had like this really interesting thought after I watched it and I was discussing it with some of my other friends, is that like all of the games look fun, but I'm not to say that I'm not excited for these games,
Mhm.
but, like, I'm certainly okay with waiting, okay? So so Stellar Blade looks great, Rise of the Ronin looks great, but the thing is, one thing that I told them is that, like, um, uh, I have already played a lot of these games over the course of the past 10 to 15 years, um, so a lot of them are, if you want to call them walking simulator movie games, you can. I don't like to view them that way. You can call them third person action adventure games. You could call
And
them hack and slash. What?
you're talking about Sony exclusives, right? Like this is what
Not
we're
necessarily, not
No?
necessarily,
Okay.
not necessarily. Okay,
Sounded like you were
but
describing some Sony
it,
exclusives.
sure, we could whatever, but, like, not necessarily,
Right,
okay?
right, right, right.
So
I
so
got you.
so, like, I mean, anyway, but the thing is, like, I have already played a lot of those games on my PlayStation before, or at least similar types of games. So, there is the gaming has plateaued at a very, like, dangerous level.
You think
It
so overall? Like we're kind of
overall, you should watch my video.
the
I don't know
gener
if you've watched you should watch it,
Okay.
because I really, like, not to, like, advertise myself on your podcast, but you should watch
You're
it.
okay, you're okay.
Um, because, like, I kind of go over a lot of, like, these issues that I'm having with gaming in general right now. Um, it's just, like, nothing. I have a bunch of friends who just get excited about stuff 6 months, 1 year away, and it's like, why are we getting excited for these things that are just a bunch of, forever away, when there's all these other really great games coming out? And then, like, so words, I'm getting off track.
No, dude, this
But
is
yeah,
fine. We're here. We're
we're
here. Just go with
we're
it.
but no, gaming has gotten to this weird level that it's just like, I've played this game before, just
Mhm.
with a different package. Um, like, I was joking around. This is gonna make me sound like biased towards Sony, but whatever. But I was joking around with these friends that it's just like the developer direct that they had a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
They showed off some interesting stuff, but, like, I told them, it's like, I've already played these games on PlayStation. Xbox is now catching up to PlayStation. And I know that might make me sound like an elitist PlayStation gamer, but there is a truth behind the fact that Xbox fell behind during the Xbox One era, and they are now catching up. But I reiterated that, like, even the games that are coming out on PlayStation, I have already played them on PlayStation.
Do you think in
Like,
general, games are just like repeating the same stuff? They're not really doing anything new, exciting.
yeah, essentially, like, I'm still having fun with them,
Right.
and, like, I enjoy them in the moment, but I have no reason to be excited for future games
So what do you
when
well,
I
well, let me just ask you real quick because you're, when you're talking about Generation 9, right?
Mhm.
Are what do you think as of now it will be known for? Like what did this bring to
Um,
the table? That I think free to play
uh,
was last generation. I feel like free to play became like, hey, it's okay to put Fortnite and Apex and battle royales and
sure.
stuff like that. Just free to play games will like, yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
I think we were used to those on our phones and stuff, but see them in that
So
kind of market.
what Gen 9 will go down as, sequels, remasters, and remakes,
That's fair.
copious amounts of, acquisitions,
Yeah, yeah.
and mass layoffs. That's that's what this generation will go down
They'll
as.
probably make documentaries on this because, like, if you really start to think of the journey, like where we are when they release
Mhm,
stuff like during COVID, and then it just has been such a uh, there's been more like troublesome lowlights than there have been highlights, and it's
mhm,
weird. Like I feel like I relate to what you're saying as far as like, yeah, I'm enjoying gaming. Like I
mhm.
still like these games, but let's be honest with each other. Like where's the state of things right now? I mean, and that's why I kind of respect Nintendo so much, because I feel like in some
Yeah.
ways they're still the part of the problem. I'm gonna be honest. They still play off of people's nostalgia. They got people by the balls. They're like, you're gonna
Hmm.
always want to come back and play that Mario Party, right? And that
Hmm.
Zelda, and it's like, yes, you're right. And now like everyone owns a Switch, but on the same sentence and breath, I will say that Nintendo has like removed themselves from that. And they're
Which
like,
good on them.
yeah, they're like, we can't keep up. We're not going to try to keep up. We're going to just do our own thing. If you guys
Hmm.
want to work together, if we can have third party games and we can support it on our hardware, cool. But we're not going to
Yeah.
send you guys anything. You'll never like they're still like, hey, this is what makes Nintendo kind of in their own way carved the you need exclusives to be successful in this business.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Exclusives define. I don't care what people say. If you're complaining about exclusives needing to go everywhere, that means that you don't have any quality exclusives for yourself. Okay? Exclusives define a platform and is what makes them maybe this is an old way of thinking, but exclusives define a platform. It's what sets them apart from any other system, and it's why people gravitate towards said system. Okay? Um and Xbox has all but abandoned the exclusives that made the Xbox what it is. They've abandoned um Halo. I don't know what's going on with Halo. Okay. Gears, I don't know what's going on with Gears. Um they're rebooting Fable, which is cool, but hopefully it's good. But like what other I mean Forza, okay, I've been getting thrashed in my comment sections that I did not include Forza. Okay, so I got to include Forza. Okay. I just don't think racing games and fighting games count.
I don't
Um
know, man. Fighting games have had a renaissance lately. Like they've been
that's true.
consistently
They
pretty
have.
good, and they've also said we get it. Our games can be intimidating to new players, so we're gonna make sure that we can,
Mhm,
satisfy people who love fighting games, are really good at fighting games, and you've met some fighting game fans and they're passionate, man.
mhm,
They get really into it. But then we also want to make sure that we can get the newcomers and you can still pick up a
mhm,
controller and play and have fun. Tekken's done that. Street Fighter was pretty good about that. You could even argue games like Dragon Ball Fighters and stuff like that. Like
mhm.
like they've done pretty good, but there's only so much. Nobody I think what something like you're referencing is kind of like what's the new meta? What's the new like what is really when you do have cross-play and cross-platform as like the mainstay, it does make it feel like what's the difference between all this hardware really?
Mhm.
And I think that's another thing I respect about Nintendo. And I know I keep going back to Nintendo, but it's just like,
And Nintendo's a good example.
but they've like, hey, yeah, you can play you can't play everything and it's not always going to look the best, but hey, it's a hybrid system. We also do stuff with our controls, and there's just different ways
Mhm,
they just do enough. But when I look at Xbox and I look at PlayStation, I said you can look at the aesthetics, you can look at the exclusives, but really when you're talking about the hardware itself, they're not really doing too much different. Now PlayStation does have VR, but like Xbox is like going, well, we have cloud stuff, and you can play this on your Samsung TV and on your phones. It's like, yeah, we know, and it's like PC. Remember PC? It's like, yeah, but now Sony's starting to say, damn, we can make a shit ton of
Well,
money when we put God of War on Steam. Like,
yeah.
like we've been.
Well,
Why did we do this sooner? Shit.
so the whole cloud gaming thing, that one's an interesting thing to me. In theory, it's a good idea. It's a fantastic idea. Um, but the thing is, cloud gaming requires good, stable internet, and not everybody has that.
Oh,
Okay.
dude, let's
Uh,
just let's be honest. The pandemic, if it showed us anything, is that not everyone has internet. Not everyone has good internet. Most people
mhm,
don't. Not everyone has fiber. Some people live in rural areas. They just don't have. Like my buddy moved at the beginning of the pandemic. Didn't have internet. Didn't have cable. Kind of in the country. It was rough. It was rough.
I
I would be fine to have physical media and stuff like that. I have
mhm.
games that I can play offline and stuff like that, but it can be rough. It can be rough
Yeah,
nowadays.
I got really lucky. I got lucky where I moved to in Kentucky.
Mhm.
I am in a rural area in Kentucky, but I've got that 1 gigabit. I do. I've got that fiber
Wow.
internet. I've got the gigabit up and the gigabit down.
Damn.
Yeah, but the thing is, but that can't be said for everybody. It
Yeah,
really
yeah.
it can't. It is like even in California, California in theory should have fantastic internet, but they're under. I don't know if you're familiar with Comcast or Spectrum or whoever it is. Um, but like basically like they're barely getting over. They're barely getting up to maybe they haven't even. I don't even know if they've gotten to like 200 megabytes up and down yet.
What?
They're still in the low 100 megabyte
Is it
range.
because of the
Uh,
population or the size of the state or so I mean, I don't know how that would work
I don't know
logistically.
either.
But that's interesting.
Mhm.
Dude, wait. So, are you familiar with OVW?
No,
Ohio
what's that?
Valley Wrestling? It's in Kentucky.
No,
Wasn't
I'm
that
not
in
familiar.
Kentucky? That wrestler aren't they in Kentucky? The wrestling people? The documentary? No, it's in Kentucky, right? Yeah, because that guy, the owner, yeah. Yeah. No, we've been watching this wrestlers documentary on Netflix.
Oh,
Swear to
cool.
God, they're in Kentucky. Anyways, well, I'll talk to you. But
Sure.
yeah, but yeah. So with cloud gaming, did you need fantastic top tier?
Mhm.
So like I understand, it's like that's why the what was it? The Stavy. What was the freaking thing Amazon did that just clunked? Oh no, Google
Well,
did.
Google, it was the Stadia.
It
Yeah, it was the
was.
Stadia.
And then the
Yeah.
Luna, right? The Amazon, they're actually they. I've been seeing the controller, my bad, being advertised because there's some weird
Mhm.
thing with that where after a certain date you can't use it wireless or Bluetooth with certain hardware. I don't know if that's them just saying we need to buy these up because there's gonna be warehouses full of these freaking dinky controllers that I don't know.
Yeah.
So
There
I
too
think
there
people's ideas are like, yeah, it's there, like this can happen, but like we're trying to say is it's not readily available for everyone. Kind of like VR
and
is kind of
I
expensive to get into. There's
I
just
I have my reservations about VR too. Like, I
yeah,
mean, it's like like, I mean, what was it? The PSVR 2, it's like $500. It's the
that's
cost. It's the cost. It's the cost of another system,
that's
and like
insane to me.
it's just like, and playing maybe playing Resident Evil 4 Remake VR would be cool, but
Is it
I
five
don't know.
hundred
It's just
dollars cool? Like I don't
yeah, I
know.
don't know if I want. I don't know if I want to spend $500 to do that. There and like the truth be told is like the and, like, I've watched enough SAO to know that that's just not my cup of tea right now.
Yeah.
But, like, this new the MetaQuest looks far more interesting, and so does this new Apple thing that was released. Looks
Oh,
far more
dude.
interesting.
Have you been seeing
I
people driving their Teslas with the Apple
that's
Pros on?
that's that's burnt.
That's
That is so
crazy.
that's so sketch. Like, but like it's kind of cool. Like, I mean, the idea is cool, right? You put it on and like you can bring a video. Like someone says like, oh, this is what I have going on with my Apple thing, and it's like I have my computer monitors here, and it was like a legit virtual computer monitor. He's like, there's a 60-inch widescreen TV over here that's on my wall, and it's like pinned to his wall, and he had like a cooking video going on in the kitchen, and it's like, okay, like I can see that being like a cool way to like use it,
Mhm.
but never for me, never for gaming, never for
Oh,
gaming. It's
no,
just like I would
no.
get motion sickness.
Motion sickness. I tried VR for the very first time at, Dave& and Buster's, and it was that Darth
Okay,
Vader, like, thing, saber thing. I don't know. It was awesome, though. It was really cool. You could
that
use
sounds
the
cool. That
Force.
does sound
Oh, it was awesome. I was looking like a fool in front of people, but I was like I was immersed, dude. I was about to fight
mhm.
Darth Vader. Cool. Um, my thing is now it's like, damn, I can probably see people moving into houses and they have like a bed, a couch and stuff, but they don't have a TV anymore. They don't have a computer. They just have a headset and they just sit in their living room just kind of doing this. Have you been seeing how people do like there's a way to it tracks your eyeballs, but it also allows you have to do this to like type. and people say like it's a good way to get haptic feedback because of the feeling of like you tapping your fingers like this. You kind of like for if you're listening to the audio of this, it's like I'm like a crab. But yeah, people are doing that. Like that's how you click on things and how you type, or you can have like a virtual keyboard in front of you and you can do this, but you got to do it slow. Very weird. It works,
It's
but
like
it's weird.
it's like we're going towards this weird, I don't know, we're getting into a weird sort of like Wall-E dystopian
Sort of.
future
Some
situation
people
where
will.
everyone's just plugged in all the time.
Come on,
Like
man. I mean, it's gonna happen. It's
like
gonna.
I like as much as I love being wired in,
Hmm.
like, kind of staying up to date with everything and being online and stuff like that, I don't ever want to put one of those things on my face.
But
I
that's
just like
just like we'll respect privacy, but we're about the same age, and maybe it's our
Mhm.
generation too. Maybe we're finally reaching that stage of being adults where it's like, I just don't get it. Why you why do you want to wear these
Yeah,
headsets? Why don't you just get a
it
TV or something? It's like I don't
yeah,
know.
physical media.
Yeah,
Um,
buy Blu-rays.
yeah, I
Like,
know, right? No, yeah, no, we're definitely like I definitely find myself doing that, and it's just like, "What?" Like like,
oh man, it's like a bad habit, but there is a good feeling of like actually owning something. But I can see like cool things like you like to go to concerts and shows. And
Mhm.
so wouldn't that be kind of cool if you could put on a headset and have really good ass headphones and just be like, holy shit, I'm watching my favorite band and it feels like I'm there? Sort of, maybe. Like, or you can like visit friends. Like, have you seen the
I
FaceTime thing where it does like a 3D like version of you? It like face like maps you. It's like a weird.
I mean, I guess so long as I guess, like, maybe if you put it that way, I don't know. There's something about buying a ticket, going to the venue, and being in that space as far as concerts go, but, like, I could see the appeal of, like, that kind of way of communicating with others through that, um, just so long as I, like, reminded myself I can't live my life with these things on my face all the time.
Well, I don't know how if you ever got into Fortnite, if you ever were, part of that. But remember when they
Mhm.
started doing these concerts and things? Like that was pretty cool. Like when they
Well
were doing this thing where, you can go and experience this thing that's like a virtual roller coaster of an
Mhm.
experience. I was like, yeah, this is cool. And they're getting back into like Rock Band and they're even now starting to sell guitars again. I'm like, okay, because I guess Epic owns the company that make Rock Band and stuff like that.
No,
Uh,
Activision or
what
Activision is Guitar Hero,
Guitar
right?
Hero, yeah.
Activision
Oh, what
and
if Xbox brought back Guitar?
I some who owns Rock Band? I know that they tried bringing Rock Band back,
I don't
and it
know. No.
Rock Band. Who did that? Publishers, Harmonix, developers,
Harmonix?
Harmonix.
Yeah, so but Epic
Um,
owns them,
Epic owns them?
I
Okay,
think.
Epic owns Harmonix. Let's find out who owns Harmonix. It's a subsidiary,
Because
uh
Fortnite's trying to do the Roblox type of thing where it's like our game is more of a game
you're
in
right, Epic bought them in 2001.
2000 and what? So
No,
that's
2021. 2021,
oh
I'm sorry.
geez, I was like, damn, so they've
Yeah.
been a part of that the whole time. Yeah,
Um,
so but they have that part of the Fortnite now. They had the Lego Fortnite. They have it's like Roblox, I guess. I've never really gotten into Roblox or even Minecraft does it now. It's like it's a game with a bunch of games in it.
in my opinion, Fortnite is the equivalent of League of Legends. Just a bunch
Really?
of just a bunch of terrible people playing,
They're
a
not
terrible game.
You don't
Um,
like it at all? Did you ever buy into the hype at all?
and then on top, so another issue that I had was like, man, I just like I think my biggest issue is like I'm just not good at those kinds of
Yeah,
games.
me
Like I'm
either.
not good. And then of course League of Legends is like League of Legends is single-handedly the most toxic community that I've ever interacted with
That's what I
for any
heard.
sort
I've
of
heard
media.
that.
Eh, Yeah, and the fact that like there's companies out there that basically allow it to happen is ridiculous. I
And it
forgot
makes
who
money,
developed.
and it's so
Yeah.
I remember
Uh,
when I was in Korea, dude, like, they had it on the TV. They held, like, tournaments, like, esports. I was like, "Wow, you're ahead of the game with this."
and then like as far as Fortnite goes, I tried Fortnite for about as much time as I tried League of Legends, which was maybe 20 minutes. And
Mm.
it just like no.
What
Like
is your go-to multiplayer game then? Or are you just not a huge do you rather play co-op with a friend or do, like, something like that versus, like, jump into, like, a
it,
first-person shooter?
I do not go out of my way to do anything competitive anymore.
Was there a
Um
f did you have a phase or something? Did you have a, like
um so like I had a squad for Destiny 1 and that was a ton of fun.
Ooh. Yeah,
That
Destiny
was
was
a
fun.
ton of fun. I um honestly like that was like such a fun period of time for gaming for me. Like it's ridiculous. Like
It was.
um
I remember
I
that.
I I had like we would gather like my gaming setup was set up in my grandparents' garage
Mhm.
and like um my best friend and a couple of our friends they would come over to my house and they would bring their monitors, they would bring their PS4s, and we would literally sit in my garage for hours playing Destiny. There was a time, it was when the Taken King came out, the expansion, the Taken
Yep.
King,
Yep.
and and my friend, well, she was my friend, not anymore, but like, so she was like, Brent, you got to skip school, and she's like, I will come over, and we will hang out if you skip school to play the
Destiny.
Taken King. And then our other buddies, they came over as well, and I shit you not, pardon my language,
Oh, you good.
um,
You good.
my class turned out to have been canceled that night. It's just like the
Oh, it
gods
just worked
wanted me to
out.
play the Taken King that night, and it like because I logged in the next day. I logged in the next day, and it's like, oh yeah, sorry for canceling class. Do this, and I'm like, oh. And so no,
Yes.
no. I honestly, I had so much fun. I had so much fun playing Destiny. Um,
What happened
uh,
with you in D2 then? Like, what happened to D2? Like, I don't know.
like I had a falling out with the one girl who was my friend at the time,
Yeah.
and the group kind of like
Disbanded.
splintered. Yeah, in a matter of speaking, and
Oh,
like
I hate
I had
that.
some yeah, I had some fun with Destiny 2. It was good, but like it did kind of get repetitive after a while.
Mm.
And the thing is like if you're not in a squad of people who like you trust and like can communicate with, it stops being fun because you've got people in there just, who are taking it way more seriously than they should, and it just stops being fun. So like if I do multiplayer, if like I very very rarely, like I think the first time I did a multiplayer game in years was my buddy Jalen and I the other day started playing Suicide Squad.
Oh, you were
um
playing Suicide Squad?
yeah, we basically made an arrangement. I want to play Helldivers, so I've got Helldivers
Yeah, you
coming in,
told me about
and
that.
he wanted to play Suicide Squad, and we were both trying to get each other to buy the other game. And I told him, I said straight up, I will buy Suicide Squad. I will buy Suicide Squad and I'll try Suicide Squad with you, but you got to do Helldivers. That is the
Ah,
only way. And he's like, yeah, sure, what, no problem. So, um, yeah, Suicide Squad is interesting. I now feel obligated to at least finish it, so that's what I'm gonna do.
yeah,
Um,
I've watched the cutscene. I didn't avoid anything. I just it's so interesting why that game is I just understand with it
yeah.
being connected to the Arkhamverse, and you got Rocksteady doing it, why they just didn't do like a Justice League game. I don't know why everyone was like, dude, the world needs Suicide Squad. We've had a lot of Suicide Squad stuff, like 2 different movies, like animated movie, a bunch of stuff. I'm
Mm.
just like, I mean, it's okay. Like it's funny, it's
Yeah.
different.
But yeah, to answer your question, I don't do competitive multiplayer anymore.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how Helldivers is gonna kinda pan out. I don't
Mhm.
know if there's a competitive aspect to it, but I would
Oh,
but like so long as it's like so long as there's a cooperative like a co-op function to it, then I'm
yeah.
all in. Like I'm down. I'm
Well,
down to play it.
I there's a lot of games that I've said this about previous games that kind of missed their window. A good example is Overwatch. I've always said
Mhm.
that that would have been a game I got into if and only if I had a consistent group to play with, that I had fun with, that,
Mhm.
like you said, you could communicate with. Because there are a ton of games that offer that opportunity. You can argue and shit on League of Legends and Destiny and Fortnite. Like those games still have like if you have friends that like that game and whatever. If you have a group or something, dude, yeah, that's
Mhm.
fun. I had my fondest memories gaming have always been with other
Okay.
people. Have always been with friends, like with those. Like I've had plenty of amazing, like couch co-op experiences or even just single player, playthroughs and stuff. But man, yeah, like when Destiny 1 came out, like I didn't even know much about it, but we got into it when I was
Mhm.
in the military and we got back from the field and everyone was like, we're going to GameStop, we're gonna get Destiny. I'm like, all right, cool. And we played the fuck out of it and it was fun. But like
Mhm.
Rainbow Six Siege, like games
Oh, that
all
was
those
fun.
kind of games that require teamwork and stuff, it's hard, man. It's hard to just jump
Yeah.
on by yourself in an online game, I think. The
Yeah.
days are kind
No,
of
no, for sure.
gone. I've played games recently, like The Finals is a cool game. It's like a first person shooter, not a battle royale. It's interesting, but fully destructible places. It's cool. But I've met people in there just playing solo, and that's fun, man. I feel like you should be able to feel like you can connect with other people and,
Yeah.
and make like gaming friends. I've been really intrigued with wanting to play MMO, even though I do not really like the play style of MMO. I'm like, but hey, you'll meet people, and maybe that's what
Dude,
makes it fun.
um,
But I can't find any
if
that really
it
hit. So.
if, you should like, depending on what goes down, but if you I know that Final Fantasy 14 is gonna come to Xbox.
Hmm.
I mean, you can always get it on PC, it runs great on PC, but, like, um, you know, it's it's supposed to be full cross play, I believe.
Yeah,
If you wanna try Final Fantasy 14, let me know, and I can get back into Final Fantasy 14.
you've tried it. Did you have a good
Oh,
time?
man. Final Fantasy 14 honestly is one of the most welcoming MMOs ever to
Really?
exist. Yeah, you can go into what's cool. So it's super. So the really cool thing about it about Final Fantasy 14 is that it's incredibly accessible. Okay, you can create one character that can do absolutely everything in the game. You want to you say that you start that character off as like a warrior. You're not feeling it. You say that you get to like level 12 or something of the warrior, you're not feeling it. Go to the mage guild. You'll have to start back at level 1 as a level 1 mage. So basically you level up as each class.
Oh, okay.
You're not your character isn't a level, but your class is more or less. Okay.
Oh,
So
okay.
so it's like, okay, you're not feeling warrior. Excuse me. Um, go back to the go to the warrior teacher or go to the mage teacher and sign up to be a mage. And that's really cool. And so you can do that. So it's like you need a healer for this raid.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, you can switch between a healer, you can switch between a tank, you can switch between a DPS. It's great.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
that's
It's like,
cool.
yeah. Well, I mean, you have to do it before going in and signing up, but
Yeah.
like it's like um it's like, oh, you want to do the mining job, you want to do the harvesting job, you can do everything in the game as one single character. It's
That's
amazing. Um and
that's the way to
then
do it.
And then what's cool is like, say that you get into a dungeon, right? And it's your first time in a dungeon. Just you get into the chat and go, hey, this is my first time in this dungeon. Or hey, this is my first time healing this dungeon. Hey, this is my first time tanking this dungeon. And they're like, cool. We're gonna be okay. Let's do this. And we go in and you wipe and they're like, all right, let's try it again. You go in and then it's like, and then they'll be like, and say that you're tanking, like you wipe. There's bound to be someone in there who's done this dungeon 1,000 times. They'll be like,
Yeah.
okay, so you're tanking. What you need to do is when the boss does this, you need to do that. And whereas in WoW, if you were playing WoW and you were tanking and you died and the whole team wiped, you were kicked out
Wow.
because yeah, because you're kicked out of the raid. So no,
Wow.
so no, Final Fantasy 14, A Realm Reborn is a great MMO.
Okay. Well, I'll definitely check it out, man. I know
Yeah.
I probably could do it on PC now, and like I told you, I
Mhm.
got that new laptop, so
And
that's where I'm doing a lot more of the gaming because the screen that I got with the laptop has been really nice. And I don't know, I feel like I'm more engaged and immersed when I'm kind of up on something versus
sure.
like just laid back, chilling. I don't know how you game with your console or anything. We have the Xbox in the living
I
room.
basically do this. I do this. I do this.
Yeah, yeah. Get back. Yeah, man. I mean, we have the Switch up there. And that's always good to just kind of put on, and we'll jump into something.
Mhm.
But, um, but I've also realized, unfortunately, that most of my libraries like are the same. Like now, I'm like, okay, do I want to play Cyberpunk on my PC or do I want to play it on TV with Xbox? Like, I don't know. Certain games, it feels like you kind of have to make that decision, but that's where I'm kind of getting at, like at the beginning of this episode talking about the exclusives. It's just like I don't know, it you can play a lot of these games anywhere. they're
Yeah.
not they're not very limited.
Well,
The only thing that does is hardware most of the time.
at the very least, it'll a game that you may want to play will eventually come to
Yeah.
PC. I mean, so no, yeah, I mean, that's definitely like we're going into that era. I mean, me, I'm very old school. I love having a console. I love having a controller.
Mhm.
I don't particularly like for me like I can't even begin to imagine having to wait for 3 months, 6 months or a year for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth to hit PC, and let alone have it be exclusive to the Epic Game Store for God knows how long, and
Is
then
that what's
eventually come.
happening?
I
Is
think
it
that's what they did with the first one. I think
what?
that's what they did. I think that's what they did with Remake is that it was confined to Epic for a while.
There's some hidden
Um,
gems over on the Epic store, but for the most part, you can find everything on Steam.
uh,
Like, and I forgot I had that's where I bought Cyberpunk on the Epic store because it was on sale one time. This is like shortly after it released, like enough time where it wasn't doing what everyone expected and went on sale pretty quick. And
mhm.
then, but I wanted to ask you something about Nintendo. Um, I think like we're both fans of Nintendo, even though it seems like we are always kind of engaged with the conversation being around Sony and Microsoft and stuff like that. But I think we both agree that they've done a pretty good job with this Switch and stuff, and it's got a pretty. I don't know about you, but my library is pretty hefty on the Switch. I like that it's mostly digital, and I can just pick up my Switch and I have this library. I probably will not ever get a Steam Deck or Steam Deck 2 or anything
Mhm.
like that, but I think that, like the Switch does what it needs to do. Are there any expectations that you got for the Switch 2? Or do you have anything that you feel like, dude, if you guys not really want to compete, because we can say that
Mhm.
that's not what they're trying to do, but like if you guys want to be relevant, like is there something
So
they got to do differently this round or
I should clarify from an objective standpoint. Yes, the Switch is fantastic. It's doing what it's got to do, and subjectively like I haven't found a game on the Switch that I want to complete. So
really?
I've kind of yeah.
If they added achievements, would you be like, okay, more encouraged?
I don't think so. Um, but like, um, I am playing Golden Sun though. I am playing Golden
Oh, you
Sun
are?
through this
How is
through
that?
through the Game Boy Advance attachment
Yeah.
that you can get. I when they finally said Golden Sun is officially coming, and I'm like, yes, I can finally play these games with a system that has a backlight. Um,
Yay!
and not on this thing.
The Game Boy
Uh,
Advance. Yeah, dude.
yeah,
I want an
this
SP
is my
so bad,
this
bro.
this is my original Game Boy Advance from like
What?
20 years ago. Yes, it still works. Um,
Yeah, dude.
but
I
like,
I love the Game Boy Advance, but man, no backlight. Mm-mm. No, thank you.
yeah, as far as what the Switch 2 needs to do, I don't know. It's like it's weird because like um I kind of I really respect how Nintendo goes about doing their thing, and I like how they like clearly like you could clearly they can put out a Zelda game and it just do numbers no matter what. Um they can they can fluctuate between different types of Mario games, whether it be excuse me. It gets dry in here.
Oh, I know, dude.
Uh
It's gotten cold over here. I've been hating it. I'm
uh
so ready for spring to get here as soon as possible.
yeah, so like they can put out like they could put out a 2D Mario, they could put out a 3D Mario and people will buy it. They can go back and forth between whatever. And like they will always have kind of like a variation of JRPGs that will go there. I mean, they're always working with Square Enix. So like in my opinion, I think like Nintendo should just keep doing what they're doing. Um maybe beef up like the graphics and frame rate a little bit, but I don't know. They should just keep doing what they're doing because I think what they're doing is good. Even if I'm not like the biggest fans of the games that they put out anymore.
Yeah, yeah, I think that I can agree with that. I mean, I've had a good time with a lot of that they put out on the Switch, and obviously they've also done the remake. We're gonna bring this stuff back, and there was a lot of games that people missed on the Wii U that they were able to bring into like that library. Um, I don't know if they got to do anything super different, man. I feel like they've kind of brought back handhelds. I've heard of rumors that even
Mhm.
Sony is looking at maybe for the next generation having some kind of handheld, whether it's like a PSP, successor or something like that. But what else?
In
Obviously,
in my opinion, the Switch isn't a true handheld. A handheld
mm,
is this. Okay, a handheld is this. A handheld can fit in my pocket. A handheld, I don't have to worry about dropping it and breaking.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
like
that's
um
true. That's true.
like my Switch, I don't take it anywhere because
You
like
don't
it
take it
doesn't
anywhere? You don't do it? Yeah,
no,
because
because it doesn't fit in a pocket to where I can take it somewhere. I have to either A, like wrap it up in a shirt or put it in like a specialty like case. It's
yeah.
like to me it's like you have to have accessories in order for it to go somewhere. Like me, this can go in my pocket. Um
But then you would look
so
so dorky to have something in your left pocket, and then you have your phone in your other, and then you got, like, it kind of feels like they're, I mean, I think they kind of, look, and Nintendo's also entered the mobile game market. They have like that Mario
mhm,
Run game and stuff. So they understand that they've owned the handheld market regardless. And I think the smartest thing that they could have done is just to say, we're not going to do we have your home console and then you have like a DS, 3DS, Game
mhm.
Boy. They're like, we're gonna just make one thing, but do both.
And oh, and props to them for doing that, but at the end of the day it for me, it isn't as convenient as one might think for it to go anywhere. That's just me, though.
So would you say that the Switch 2 or whatever Nintendo, because people just automatically assume Switch 2, but what if they're like, we're not, it isn't a hybrid, it's just a home console, and we're gonna actually start a whole new line of handhelds. Like, and they went back into that, but the handhelds would have exclusives, but also carry your library, kind of like a Steam Deck carry, like a Switch. Like, what if it was something like that that they could work out, or do you think they're just stuck doing? We're just gonna make one console at a time all the time now. 'Cause they've done pretty good. Like, not many
And
companies can say they do that. Like,
look,
you can say PlayStation, Xbox have like their different versions of their main console, but that's about it. You know,
I am
Microsoft.
of the I am of the extreme minority, and from an objective standpoint, Nintendo just needs to keep doing what it is that they're doing. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to some like aging gamer that like
We don't know what we're talking about.
who is like because like some people really believe that like some people have no problem lugging the Switch around. I do, and like so that's just me.
Yeah, yeah. It's like
Like
it's on my bedside. It's kind of like that. It's like the
mm,
game when I just feel like kind of doing this, and
yeah,
it's not really
for
like
sure.
I've never really been in many situations where traveling. Like, I can understand if somebody has a job where they're like staying in hotels a lot and they don't want to,
Mhm,
bring that giant PlayStation 5 and like, Wi-Fi router with them, and stuff like that. It's just
mhm.
something they can just kind of pick up, play something, put it down. But I don't know, man. I feel like you're right, but I also feel like Nintendo does this thing where they give you what you didn't know you really wanted. Like I feel
Sure.
like the design of the Switch just was like, you guys don't know, but you really want this. Like, dude, like when I've never really just taken off the Joy Cons and hit the kickstand and put it on a desk and played like this. I'm like, I've never done that, but like, dude, I mean, that's still like an idea that somebody
You
must
could
have
do it,
done.
yeah,
Yeah, you could do it, and they're
yeah,
like,
you still do it, I mean,
yeah, you could like
um,
like in the first trailer, I remember it was like these guys playing basketball on a court, like just full adults, man, playing, and then they're like, "Yo, just play 2K," and they put it on like a picnic table, and they're playing with these itty bitty controllers, and I'm like, dude, nah, that's not gonna happen. If I ever
I
went to a basketball court and busted out a Switch and said, "Yo, let's play the real
there's
thing,"
some
like
2K, let's play some
let's put
2K.
2K on this little screen and this huddle around each other, and here's my Joy-Con. You turn it sideways, you're like this. Um, yeah, man, I don't know. I like Nintendo for what it's worth, but I do feel like they're not completely guilt free of, like, I wouldn't say shady tactics or anything. They know what they do. There's certain franchises they don't talk about, they don't ever do anything with, but then they're just like, here's a shit ton of Mario, and here's all the like, yeah. Like Super Mario Wonder, whatever, was really fun. Me and my girlfriend
Mhm.
played it. We had a great time. Um, I'm not a big platformer person, but I think the success of that Mario movie made them go make Mario
Mhm.
video games, sell console.
Yeah, um,
I wonder if the Halo TV series sells Xbox. Probably not. I heard season
yeah,
two
I
is
mean,
better, but
yeah, I never got into the Halo TV. I still haven't I haven't even watched The Last of Us yet, like,
I
uh
watched a handful of the episodes. I didn't finish.
I
I'm
mean,
not.
I've already played the games, like, I have no like, I have some diehard like, don't get me wrong, I love The Last of Us, it's one of my favorite series, but, like I just, like I have friends who are even bigger fans of it than I am, and, like, they were all into the show. I mean, uh, one of them wasn't as much so as the others, but,
Mhm.
um yeah, I've already played the game. Like, I might watch the show eventually, but, like, I've already played the game. I know what happens. I'm
So
good.
you just said it's one of your favorite series, man. If you could, real quick, give me a good top 3 or top 5 without really having to explain your favorite
Um,
gaming franchises.
okay, Persona.
Yeah?
Um,
Have you played 3 yet?
I'm I'm, are you kidding me? This is cutting into my 3 no, just kidding. Um, no, yeah, no, I'm balls deep into Persona 3 Reload, and I am loving every second of it.
Yeah?
Um Uh, God, this is hard. It's like I guess like Resident Evil would also be in there.
Okay,
Ju
okay.
just the mainline entries, right? Not off those weird
Yeah,
spoof-ers. I'm
you don't
talking
yeah.
0 to 8, okay? Um, with Resident Evil 4 being my remake, man, with Resident Evil 4 being my favorite, Resident Evil 4 remake was amazing.
Do you think that kind of got overshadowed by everything this year or this past year? Do you think
no, it was perfect. It's that meme. It was perfect.
and it didn't need any
Everything
kind
about
of
it,
it didn't need any
like
well, I feel like in the
like
award shows and everywhere, like people were saying Baldur's Gate, Baldur's Gate, but I was like, man, I don't know. There's a lot of
no. Like it's just the Baldur's Gate sealed the bag on that one.
yeah.
Persona,
Mhm.
Resident Evil. How many did you want?
3 or 5 at
5.
least. Yeah, if you can do
Okay.
5.
Mass Effect. That trilogy was
Really?
amazing. Oh God, I love Mass Effect. If there's if
You got
there's two games,
yeah.
well, hang on a second. So Resident Evil 4, the original, is probably the one game that I've played the most in my life. I've probably played it anywhere between 20 to 30 times, maybe
What?
more.
From
I've
start
played
to
Resident Evil
finish?
from start to finish. I know that game like the
Wow.
back of my hand.
Wow.
Um, yeah. So and then basically second to that would be Mass Effect 2. I've played Mass Effect 2 a ton of times. A
Really?
ton of Oh yeah, I love Mass Effect 2. But I love the whole trilogy. Anyway, so that's 3. Um
I feel like
I then
BioWare's been rough, man.
yeah, I don't know what's going on with them.
I'm a Dragon Age person. Stuff like looking forward to what is it, Dreadwolf or something?
I don't know. BioWare has been so yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
I guess that then like, oh man, so I've got 2 left.
You only got 2.
Shoot. Shoot, man, like, I don't know.
So
There's so
Last of
like,
Us is Last of Us not top 5?
um, The Last of Us is top 5 when it needs to be in the top 5. Like
Wait, when you gotta
like
call it up and be like, "Yo, this other one called in sick. Come on, Last of Us,
yeah,
you're moving
exactly.
up."
It's just like
Yeah.
so like, um, God,
Would Final
oh,
Fantasy be in that?
not quite. I don't know. I
Damn.
like
Top
the thing is
10?
like yeah, top 10. It's just I can't like say that I'm a true Final
Honorable
Fantasy
mentions?
fan. Like I'll give it an honorable mention just
Yeah.
simply because like I haven't played as many as I feel like I should to
Yeah.
be warranted. Like
No,
I've only
that's not
I've
fair. That's not fair to
I've
say.
over the years, I mean, like so
Do you
like
feel like you have to play all those games to be considered a fan?
no, but I feel like having only played 15, the remake, and 16
And the
being
MMO.
like and the MMO,
But you've
like
sank
it's just
some time into those games. You platinum those games. I mean,
I yeah, but like I don't know, like I feel like
so how many more
there's
do you have to play before you can allow
I feel
yourself?
like I
Have
feel
you
like I feel like I really want to do
9?
I really want to do 10. I've never completed 10. Um
Ooh, like
and I am dying to play the 13 trilogy. I really want to play Final Fantasy 13 because so I really want to play Final Fantasy 13. I guess if I had to throw another one in there, I'm gonna give it to Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts,
really?
yeah, I gotta give it to Kingdom
Ah,
Hearts because Kingdom Hearts holds a very special place
why?
in
Like
my
the
heart.
original games? Because like that's also a series that's like you needed to play the
See,
one on Game Boy
no,
Advance and play
no,
PSP.
that's the beauty of Kingdom Hearts is that it's like you had to have you like of course I haven't played all of them. I've only played the mainline series,
Yeah.
but but the thing is like the main so 1, 2, and 3. I've only played 1, 2, and 3. And I do plan on going through all of them chronologically at one point. But like the thing is like it's such like even though like I've only played those 3, like the whole series, like I have been through, I have watched the series evolve over the course of 20 years.
Mhm.
And like it's been this it's like I'll look at it and be like, man, that is a coked out fever dream. Like that is a coked out Disney fever dream just right there. It's it's like they're like it's like, yeah, it's a mess, but it's
Well,
our mess.
but yeah, you said it had kind of like an emotional you or like you have this attachment or it had an impact on you. What it was it like when you played the first games or did I don't know, like because I feel like that's like a Final Fantasy esque type game, has that aesthetics. It's interesting. I wasn't expecting you to say Kingdom Hearts.
No, I love the Kingdom Hearts series. It like I if if there's one game that has that who God knows when it comes out that I'm actually like looking forward to, it's Kingdom Hearts 4. Like
Really?
bring it on. Bring on the Kingdom Hearts 4. Bring it on.
So what did it do for you though? Like what about it is like
It's like it's how do I put it? It's just like it like I mean it like the Kingdom Hearts series started in 2002. I was like 12 or 13 years old,
Mhm.
right? Like it's like it's
Yeah.
there and then like over the years there's more games coming out. Maybe I didn't get to play them all, but like I remember getting Kingdom Hearts 2 like as a 15-year-old just so excited to play it and
Mhm.
I've played Kingdom Hearts 2 a bunch of times. um not as many as like Mass Effect 2 or Resident Evil 4, but I've played Kingdom Hearts 2 quite a bit. um Kingdom Hearts 3 has its issues, but damn it, it's it's the end of this adventure that started back in 2002, and like I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's really Kingdom Hearts is like it's hard. It's like it like yeah, it's hard to explain, and I think that like um Kingdom Hearts fans who are my age, they would get it. They would get they would get they would probably understand why it's hard for me to kind of describe why it's like there. Um it's just it's a weird one, but it's like and on top of that, like I grew up with all that Disney stuff. I would like is like I grew up with all that Disney stuff. So like running around in Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and 3, going to all these worlds that I've seen, you know, movies of, been to the theaters to see them, it's just like it's like all this wild nostalgia wrapped up into one weird, you know,
Yeah, like you said.
Final, Final
Fever dream,
Fantasy
bro.
Disney coked out fever dream. Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool,
Um,
man. I mean, and look, man, no judging or anything. This is your top,
yeah.
I always like to know with certain franchises what it is about them.
Uh,
Really pull Kingdom Hearts. I as people who really like it, man. I get it. Like I get it. I
and
don't think it's ever hit for me. Maybe I've never given it a fair shot.
I don't know. Like, did you experience it from the beginning?
I never really played it as much. Like
It's
I've tried. Like I
it
think they packaged the first one and two together.
yeah, but the thing is, like, did you check it out? Did you play it when
I
you were a
played a little
kid,
bit.
when you
I
were
played it a
12?
little
Like,
bit. Nah,
so
nah. I knew
it's
about it though.
it's
I knew
hard
about
to
it.
it's hard to kind of get back in. It's
Mhm.
hard to get into now.
Yeah.
It's dated. Um, it's got a weird rep to it now because of how it was handled and how the story is kind of like this. The story, it barely works. It works, but it barely works.
Barely gets by.
um, and then like God, like I was like I guess I'll put like God of War in there as well.
Really?
God of War is another one of those series that like it's been around since I was a teenager. It's had its ups and downs. Yeah, I mean, but like don't get me wrong, there's tons of like man, like I would love to be able to put Halo in there because like Halo was so much fun growing up as a kid. Like I don't think
Was.
I'll never forget my times playing Halo. I'll never forget like I mean, back when like back when matchmaking rooms were like so dope, and like you can talk to everybody in that matchmaking room, and you make friends, and you constantly you play with the, it's like, yo, dude, yo, stupid name 369, like let's, like, it's like, I've never met you before in my life, but let's run it, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
you play till 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. God, I wish I could do that. I just, like, I can't do that anymore. It's
No,
like,
man. I'm
like
with you.
like it's 10:30 now. Like in 30
Yeah.
minutes, I gotta be horizontal in 30
Yeah.
minutes.
I
Um,
know, man. I guess, like, that's how we could wrap up, man. I don't know if this gets talked about very much. Maybe this is something deeper, but, like, how has gaming changed for you as you've gotten older? Like, with gaming being so more available and mainstream and popular than it's ever been our whole lives, but, like, we're the same age, like I've mentioned earlier. Like,
mm,
I've realized that there's times where I'm just like, dude, the idea of playing is fun, and then I sit down and I go, I'm tired. I'm just so, and you platinum
no,
and you
no,
finish these games, dude. So I'm just like,
well, I like
how do
I
you?
have to I take breaks. I have friends who like just like they just game. Like me,
Yeah,
I will
that's something.
put let's see here. I'll put like we'll use like Persona, or maybe even Final Fantasy remake, right? Like I'll put like I'll put like 100+ hours into a game, but then I got to take like 2 weeks off. I got to go do something else. Um, but the thing is, I actually have like, in my opinion, I think what's happened now is that there is so much happening in video games within the game itself, right? There's so much. Video games are incredibly overstimulating now. Like
Ooh,
like,
that's yeah.
um,
That's why people like
so
games. Like my girlfriend, she really enjoys like a Stardew Valley or a Sims or
mhm,
something. It's really kind of low stim, but she can like
yeah,
really get into it. It's comforting. It's like fun, but it's not like
yeah.
ah,
So
shit's going
so
on. Yeah,
that is the reason, at least for me, I think that is the reason why, um, games, like, what that, like, it's the reason why, I gotta take breaks from games every once in a while, and, like, I can't do like super long binges. Now, I will say one thing that I've always liked about the Persona games is that they're not incredibly overstimulating. They're
yeah.
not.
Their
Like
pace really.
they're paced very well, and I can lose 8 hours playing that game
And dude,
with no problem, none.
I love RPGs. I love turn-based combat. I love certain
Mhm.
things that and look, this is to go. I think if you were to look at the numbers, and I'm sure they're different now, but I think more adults get more out of the Nintendo Switch because of like picking it up, doing a shrine for Zelda, then your kid wakes up from a nap. Or I'm gonna just bring this with me. I'm gonna do this thing. I'm gonna have like an objective. And I'm just going to like play for 15, 30 minutes, put it down,
Mhm.
do some other stuff, da da da. And I think that's why online multiplayer, hey, I'm just gonna jump in and do a couple matches. It's like it's it's more challenging as you get older to really sink in the time consistently. Like it's really hard. There's been many days that I just want to wake up and go, I am doing nothing but playing this game,
Mm.
and I'm just gonna. And then I wake up and then I go, I got all this other shit to do, man. So I find time where I can find it. There's some times where, like, me and my girlfriend, we've been playing Baldur's Gate 3, and that's just something we look forward to. And we've been chipping at it over
Yeah.
time. And
Cool.
so I try not to rush through games, but I also feel like there's always something new. There's always
Mhm.
something. And I think that's a problem with gaming, kinda, is that it is
There's a
so,
lot there's a
yeah, it's a
lot more of
lot.
them now.
And it's always focused on the next thing. Like things don't ever get a chance to marinate. And like if they stopped making games for a year, we would be okay.
Yeah,
Like
we
I
would,
think
and honestly, I think it should happen.
yeah,
Uh,
it's remember
but, like,
when
well
Like with the MCU, like when the Endgame, people look back and they go, they should have just chilled for like 3
Mhm.
years.
They should
Instead,
have,
they were
yeah.
like, no, keep making money.
Yeah.
Keep making
I
these movies.
except for Spider-Man, I stopped after
Me
Endgame.
too, man. I know. And even then, Spider-Man, I feel like they've kind of like sort of I mean, Madam Web is coming out next week for Sony.
B
It'd be funny to do like have a talk with you about like some bad movies or some shit, dude. I don't know. Like I feel like
Snakes on a Plane, man. Snakes on the Plane is single-handedly the best, worst movie ever made. I love Snakes on a Plane so much. Anyways, there's actually like something like you talked about like there's
Mhm.
so much all the time, and like so I would like for you to do something. I'd like for you to
Okay.
go in. I'd like for you to go into Game Pass and start looking at trophy completion rate or achievement completion rates. Okay,
Okay.
um, that
Write that down.
achievement completion rates on Game Pass, it's or on the Xbox platform, anything tied to Xbox. It's really quite fascinating, really, and so there is a retention issue with the Xbox platform, and I think that it's Game Pass is to blame. So I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna just give you a couple of examples here. Where are these pictures that I sent? Come on, where are the pictures? I sent them yesterday. Here we go. Okay, so Persona 3 Reload. It's been out since Friday.
Mhm.
And now maybe perhaps like taking a look at at trophy slash achievement completion rates um, after only 4 days is not the best thing, but this is still pretty interesting. So for those who have started Persona 3 Reload on PlayStation, um, 89.2 have obtained their first Persona. 89.2% of players who have started Persona 3 Reload have on the
Hmm.
PlayStation platform have gotten the first Persona.
That's a
Now,
vast majority.
yeah, so now on a platform where it is free to play these games for 15 bucks a month or however much it is, can you make a guess? And so to keep in mind, this is something that can be obtained in the first hour of playing. Um,
37%.
Uh, it's better than that. So it's 59
60.
point it's 60%. Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
60%. But I think the most fascinating one, the most fascinating two, that you should go take a look at are Hi-Fi Rush
Mhm.
and Starfield. Two
Mm.
games that were overly hyped last year. Hi-Fi Rush, and I actually talk about this in my video. Hi-Fi Rush, only 50% of Xbox players have beaten the first boss. 13% of I'm being very specific with my wording. Xbox players. The percentages are more on Steam. Okay.
Okay.
So 13% have completed the game. So basically how I looked at that is I looked at the trophy for like the first boss and I looked at the trophy for the last boss. Okay.
Mm.
So there, so 13% of Xbox players have beaten the last boss of this game. Um, Now I haven't checked on the achievement completion rates for Starfield in a while, but like they were embarrassing as well.
Mm.
And and it's an issue with having so many games. In my opinion, it's an issue with having so many games that are quote unquote free. That like people will start games, but they won't finish them.
It's hard, man. It's like a Netflix. It's like anything. It's like people have so many options thrown in their face, and I think the Xbox user interface is like really, really bad about making like you have all these options all the time because they think that people look at their brand and go, you don't have options, you don't have exclusives. So you can't just hone in on one thing. They're like Game
Mhm.
Pass, look at these things, they're coming out. Look what's on sale, 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 sale. And you're just like always being flooded with options. And that's where
Mhm.
I've gotten really bad. I kind of get choice paralysis. I think, I think all of us can relate to some
Yeah.
degree. You get on
Mhm.
Game Pass, you get on Netflix or whatever, and you're just like, I have so many things that I would be down for But even if I start them tonight, who's to say that tomorrow, and my girlfriend can attest to it, I'm pretty bad. And like
Mhm.
going into this year, I've wrote a list of games and I'm like, that's my goal. Like I will
Mhm.
try to limit what I have installed on my computer, what's installed on my Xbox and everything. Go, when you sit down and play video games, these are your choices. So we're
Yeah.
constantly
Y
making certain progress.
like,
I'm
this is the
trying.
reason why I'll never feel ashamed for spending $70 on a video game, because spending money on a video game incentivizes completing it.
Hmm. Gotta get your money's
Um,
worth.
yeah, I mean, and like, there's something nice about owning these games, like,
Or owning any of this stuff nowadays.
yeah.
It feels like with streaming and even with Game Pass, like Max is even interesting. These streaming services lose stuff, and you're like,
Mhm.
like Max was like leaving soon. The Exorcist. I'm like, yo, don't Warner Brothers, don't y'all own that shit? Like, why is that leaving y'all's platform? I
I
don't
know,
know.
right?
I don't know the rules so much yet. Game Pass will always like bring in stuff, and then they'll let no, like especially with third
Mhm.
party stuff. But like on Steam right now, it's $9.99 to get the Master Chief Collection. You can own it, play it. I'm not
Mhm.
saying that would ever leave Game Pass, but there is just something about owning
Yeah.
things.
So the thing is, like, there are people who have spent, who have had Game Pass for many, 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 many years, who
Mhm.
have who've dedicated their, but the thing is, like, if Game Pass disappeared tomorrow and all of that money, if you're, if it's what'd you say it was, like, 12 bucks a month, 12 bucks a month for 5 years. That's
That's a
several
lot.
hundreds several $100, like, and, like, all you and you have no games to show for it. So, people might be like, "Oh, you're stupid for spending $70 on a game." No. Nah, man, like, I have something to show for this money that I'm spending.
Well, dude, and
It
you're a good example of somebody who like gets the most bang for your buck. Like when you're
Mhm.
platinuming games or really like I don't think you just buy every and that's hard when you a lot of your content revolves around these games. It feels like sometimes there's a pressure like I have to have hands on to feel like I have an opinion. But on top of that, I can't just buy every new video game that comes out
Oh,
60,
I
$70.
I don't I don't like thinking that way. I'll play the games that I wanna play,
Yeah.
and I'll talk about the games that I play. I don't ever feel obligated to play more than I should,
Yeah.
or what I should be playing anyway. But yeah, I just I don't want that to ruin this thing that I love.
What would you say, and we'll wrap up, but what was the
Okay.
last game that you bought because of hype? That you had probably no idea, didn't look into it then, like, would you say Power World is something that
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would definitely say that I bought that out of hype. I
yeah,
bought it out of sheer curiosity. But the thing is, like, thankfully, it's a fun game. I
yeah,
haven't spent much time in it, but, like, I need to get back to it, but I got all this other stuff going on. Um,
yeah,
but I will say, I bought an Xbox Series S to play Hi-Fi Rush, and I didn't like it. Yeah.
yeah,
And because I it kept getting hyped up. It kept being hyped up as, like God's gift to gaming and the second coming of Christ for gaming. And all of a sudden, like, is like I've got friends telling me left and right
yeah,
that Hi-Fi Rush is the greatest thing to ever exist. And I get it, and I'm sitting down and I'm playing it, and I'm like, what is this? The platforming sucks. I don't like how, like, all the combats I don't like how all the combat is focused into, like, these stages, and it's like it all feels super railroaded,
yeah.
like, it is like I don't know. And then, of course, like, Starfield was anyway.
Starfield
Um
was something that I even fell into the trap, and this is a PSA. When a game tells you if you buy it the deluxe version or what is it, pre-order, what is it
mhm.
right? What is it the new gimmick now?
So Starfield is what Xbox did with Starfield is single-handedly one of the most egregious, acts of greed that I can ever think of, and it was paying $30 for
That's what I
early
did.
access
That's
on
what it
Game
is.
Pass. So you're paying $30 for early access on Game Pass, and if you
Mm.
and if you shut down your Game Pass, you still can't play it, even though you've spent half of the price of the game
That's
to
right.
get it early. It's
It was so
like
dumb.
at least with Diablo 4, I bought the digital deluxe version of Diablo 4. That allowed me early access to the game. But at least like I own it, right? Like
Yeah.
I mean being, digital copies, there's like this weird gray area of whether or not you own it, right?
Yeah.
But at least I own it, right?
Right.
And for those listening, I'm doing quotes with my finger. Like, so like I can I can like I can remove Diablo off my PlayStation console, but it's still in my library, and all I have to
Yeah.
do is download it again, and I can play it. Whereas like Starfield isn't if you shut down Game Pass. So like like yeah, that was super egregious. That was messed up.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
bad looking back on it. I fell for it too. I was just really excited. Like all the hype got me. I was like, you know
Yeah.
what? Screw it. I know I could wait a couple days and I could just get on Game Pass. And then I ended up not really getting into it. And that's when I really recently felt like a shift in my attention span and energy put
Mhm.
into gaming. And it's starting to change. Baldur's Gate's been really nice. I've been
Good.
revisiting some other games like Cyberpunk and some other stuff.
Nice.
But for the most part, yeah, it's just that was weird, man. I mean, it's rough, but look, man, I think we'll wrap up here
Yeah.
and we'll save some stuff to talk about some other
No,
time
we had it.
because I
We had a
mean,
good conversation. Thank you.
yeah, man. No, I really appreciate it. And we'll talk more about the Xbox stuff as it develops because I think they're going to do an event next week. So there was kind of like wanting to talk about it, but then it's like, dude, everything we're about to say might be irrelevant in like a week because who knows what's going to happen. So maybe we'll catch up again and just do like a
Yeah.
quick little update on that. So, but yeah, so we'll wrap up here, man. And before we go, though, do you want to just tell people what you're doing and like
Uh,
where to find your stuff and everything like that?
Yeah, so my name is Brent. I have a channel on YouTube called, you can find it at Work in Progress SLO. Um all one word, at Work in Progress SLO. And I talk about video games, anime and manga, whatever. Just chill. So that's where you can find me.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'll drop a link in the description as well. So, well, I appreciate it, man. As always, been a good time, and everyone who's listening or watching, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Mhm.
And until the next time, we'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
Later.
Wonder Soul.